Just me today. Well, me and Kyler, of course. But everybody, welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, my name is Big Rob. I am joined with Kyler here tonight. And David, our other co-host, has a day off. And if it's your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, the boring, the stale information, package it up in a fun and sexy way. We got a hot show for you today, man. We are talking about a new prominent exchange launching today. Please stay tuned for the exciting news. We also have some Silvergate kind of dilemma going on. What's underwriting the Silvergate's assets? Because taking a deep dive into that, very interesting. We also have TA Tim joining us today. So one of our favorite TA analysts. And then yeah, man, I'm pumped up. We got a poll up right now. Will Bitcoin stay over 20K? So make sure you guys take the poll, and then we'll kind of discuss that later. That is kind of the theme of today's show is are we in a bull trap, or are we in a new bull run? Are we set to break out and stay above 20K and maybe inch our way over to 30K over the next, I'd probably say 2 months. I think both sides are very plausible, but we'll kind of give our opinions on why we think may go one way or the other. And then what else we got? Also, Japan is getting into Japan's largest power company is getting into Bitcoin mining. So that's very interesting as well. All right. So and then real quick before I get into the discussion, let's pass it over to old Kyler here. Why don't you say hello?
What's happening? What's going on? Hola, everyone. Welcome. Sin City Crypto. I'm taking over for Dave's spot today. It's a very comfy chair. I'm not as tall as Dave, so I'm trying.
Oh, we should adjust the camera. No.
Oh, it's all good. What's happening? Beautiful people. I hope you had a great weekend. I had a great weekend, except for Minnesota losing.
Yeah, that was a lot of at least y'all got to the playoffs because the Raiders, well.
Yeah, get there and lose round one.
Yeah, it was.
You know what's so funny, dude? My dad woke up at 10. He watched. They had a replay of the Giants game, their first time that they played, and I called him at like 1:15, like, "Hey, you watching the game? I'm gonna come over." And his response was, "Did you watch the game? What a great game!" I said, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Vikes don't play yet." And he's like, No. They just won. They won with a field goal, 4 seconds left. It was an amazing game, up and down. I'm like, man, you watched the first one, like playoffs. Because I thought he was talking about the morning game, so he had to live it twice. He thought that they won, and then we lost. So
yeah, we're in an interesting spot. We got a football game tonight. So playoffs on Monday night now.
You think Brady's gonna make it? Think he's gonna pull it out?
I think so, man. I don't know if he's gonna.
I feel like everybody has faith in Tom Brady.
I don't want to make a sports show.
Looked awful lately.
I don't want to make a sports show, but Tom Brady, old motherfucker.
He's a goat, man. He should have retired last year.
I wouldn't discount it, man. I wouldn't discount it.
He hodled too hard on his career.
Yeah.
He watched all the gains come in, and then now he's sitting through a bear market of himself.
All right, so. Before I get into it, today is Martin Luther King Day. So quite a special day for me as well. I know I might not be able to relate with my ethnicity, but I did grow up in Virginia, which is in the deep South. Anyways, a lot of the people I grew up with, African American, and I grew up in also the country. So saw both sides of racism, both from the traditional racists, and then also I saw the effects on my friends. So
it's raining here, by the way. I don't know if you could tell. the solemn mood.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Anyways, Martin Luther King, one of our great heroes. So excited to have the day off, man, and excited to talk some crypto. Now, we do have. If you're new here, say hello. So we can drop an hola back at you here in the chat. And then we have a new hodler member today too, as well. We have our new hodler member, Crypto JMP. Welcome to the club, my dude.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Hola!
Hey.
All right. So, guys, thanks a lot for helping us out on memberships. I know Jimmy is always gifting these things out, but it means a lot. It gives us our emojis. We're trying to we juggle so much that we're trying to create more content for our members. So that is in the pipelines. And then a few new people that we have on deck so far. We got let's see here. We got Charlie Mac 10, Rusty Chucky, Dean Jennings, and Kevin B. Also, Alex Fame, and then we got Luis Rivera, and to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, we got your owner as well. So now let's get into it. You know what? We are in the 21K region. You know, over the weekend, I think it was Friday, we smacked 21K, rejected off of it, came right back down. And so we were trading at 20,000. We are starting to see incremental growth in crypto and especially in Bitcoin. Now, to take a look here, we have Bitcoin coming in at $21,099. And so this is that low and steady growth that you want, that, you know, you don't want a ton of volatility when you're getting into new thresholds. You know, you don't want to go into 60K. You know, let's just say when we were going into 60K, you didn't want to go from 59K to 64 in the matter of like 12 hours because it's extreme volatility. You know, you're going to have a pullback and you're going to be coming in with a very strong velocity down to the support level again. And so the fact that we didn't go from 19 to say 24,000, when we retrace back to 20, you know, you could plow right through the support level. So nice steady growth is what we want to see. And here's the 7-day chart. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Look, this is beautiful right here, man. This looks like one of those sides of the Grand Canyon here in Nevada. So
it's like
you have
the Mona Lisa of the crypto.
This is the Mona Lisa of the crypto for a 7-day chart. I mean, you have 17K, run up to 18K, consolidate for 24 hours. Go up another $700, consolidate for 2 days. Run up another, you know, from 18.8 to 20K, consolidate. And this consolidation was for a week, like, you know, or for, you know, 5 days. And now we're getting into 21K. So we'll see. Will it hold over 21K? I think so. Which kind of pulls me to my next narrative, which for me, I have been battling with myself. I have my own demons. And I've been saying, Big Rob, are we going to have a bull trap? Is my brain foggy because, you know, all of a sudden I feel like the market is reversed and I just want to FOMO into everything?
Is that how you talk to yourself?
Do I have the dumb money mentality? You know, because that's what I'm asking myself. Because my true self, what I'm really thinking is that the bottom is in, baby. The bottom is in, and we are moving up into some juicy territory. We're gonna be slowly climbing our way. That little step 7-day graph I showed you there, that expanded across the next 3 months with 30K being the goal. You know, we're gonna step our way up there nice and slow.
You're gonna get your footing, and then it's gonna just go right out from under you.
That's where I'm at, and that's
I like the optimism though.
But here's the thing: I'm very realistic on this. Both scenarios can pan out, but if at first at heart, I do think we're gonna go to 30K. But now I am with my own personal investment strategy. I'm looking at it with hesitancy. And I'm saying, don't go overboard because you know this could be a bull trap. I feel, I am anticipating the slow rise to 30K, but take it easy because this could be a bull trap. What do you say, Kyler? What do you think? I know we were kind of chatting about this earlier. You think it's a bull trap?
I think it's a bull trap. Yeah. Well, I just don't think that any of the macro conditions that kind of led to everything that happened last year have cleared up. And I think that people are just trying to tread water right now, and they're going to get tired. And who knows where this influx of money is coming from? It's a new year. Maybe people are getting their tax money back, pouring it in. I don't know where it's coming from, but I just don't think that we're done yet. I don't think that we felt max pain. I don't feel like everybody's scurried to get out of here. It hasn't been the sky is falling yet. And, the Fed tightens everything until they break things, and they're waiting for things to really get broken. And so I think that we're just waiting on that. And so for me, I mean, I got liquidated. I tried to short Ethereum, got liquidated. So, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing quite as well as I wish I did. So we're just all here to learn.
You're ahead of the game with a lot of people. I'll say that. So, I always kind of question my own, knowledge. I always feel like you could learn more and that other people might have better insight than you. So, I think I think being humble as far as your own personal knowledge and I think is a good way of going about it, because then it pushes you to educate yourself more, which is why you're here.
Yeah, and we're all learning in real time, man. Yeah. I mean, there's no college course on what's going on right now.
We're such a, it's an emerging technology. We've kind of assumed Bitcoin's been around forever. I mean, but has it?
Yeah,
it's been around since 2009 was a white paper. Didn't really come out.
I have a car that's older than Bitcoin.
Yeah, and so think about it.
I got a dog that's older than Bitcoin.
You got a dog older? Yeah, me too. I just thought about I don't know how
just
old my
putting
dog.
time in
I
perspective.
have no idea how old my dog is. It's a rescue. I've had the dog.
They always say about 2 years.
It's a wiener, man. It's like a Chihuahua wiener dog. And
is this a story time or is
you want to do a story time?
I like Rocco.
Sure.
Rocco's trying to get us back on track.
All right. Let's do a throwback, guys. If you don't know what this is, it's Big Rob's story time. Let's go.
Get it?
Oh man. So we had me and my ex-wife, we adopted a dog. Or she adopted a dog right before she met me. So she had already had this dog. Dog's name is Honey. And and so we had Honey. And anyways, if you know, we split ways eventually, right? Me and my ex-wife it's called ex-wife for a reason. We split up. And she left me with the dog. Which wasn't my dog to begin with, but you know what? She moved somewhere that she said couldn't have dogs, but we'll leave it at that. Anyways, so she left me with the dog, and so I'm still a nice guy. It's a nice dog. I'm not really a dog guy, but whatever, sure. Especially not a Chowiener. Okay, so anyways, I was working.
You have to find a picture of this.
I was working a lot at the time, and I just wasn't at home to let the dog out of the. I was working like 12 hours as a chef, so I was feeling bad because the dog was home. I'm a single dad at this time. Dog's at home for like 12 hours, just locked up. Nobody let it out. So I felt bad. I'm like, so I found some friends. They were like hippies, bro, straight up burners, man. They just smoke weed all day. I was like, hey man, you wanna watch my dog? Or they came over and they were like, oh, I love your dog. I was like, you want it? I'm like, you can take it. And they're like, really? Anyway, so they took the dog, but at the same time, I still had emotions for the dog. I was like, look, man, if y'all don't like this dog, or for whatever reason, y'all try to get rid of this dog, then don't take it to the pound. Just bring it back to me. So lo and behold, about a week later, these degens were like, hey man, you can take the dog back. So then fast forward like 5-6 years, somebody else is hanging out, same story, but this guy already has 2 dogs and whatever. He has a dog for about 8 months, and then he was moving and could only take so many dogs. Anyways, dog came back again. And so this time I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna shackle this thing down. I'm gonna, me and Honey, we're gonna ride it through. I've had her for 14 years. You know what's funny is
What's
that when I
name
got the dog back from the hippies, swear to God, braided like necklace, one of those hip necklaces, like the ones that are like they make like all those like Rasta colors and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah. So now me and Honey we
Came back
ride
with
it
a
out,
new
man.
perspective on life, man.
You know what? I'll pull up some pictures of Honey. In a
Yeah, you
little
gotta.
bit. I
Can't tease the dog and not.
Oh
deliver.
man, me and my Honey, man. That's my dog. Literally. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, it's got some stinky breath. But anyways, Honey is like 15 years old, and I don't know. I've had her for 11 years.
Dude, the little
And
mutts
she
last
already
forever.
had puppies before I had her. That's what the vet said. So she's got to be at least 13, 14, 15, 16. Who knows? Maybe she's 20. Maybe she's older than I am. No. Who knows?
Imagine their money say buy Doge or Shiba Inu.
Yes. This is not my endorsement of meme coins. So to get back in it, Bitcoin, it is, what was it? 14 years old now? What was the birthday? 14?
2009, right?
Yeah. So, the thing is even with the white paper being written and it coming out, it has been, it didn't really get adopted until you could say 2014, but realistically, still just the nerds were playing around with it. And
So when did Silk Road,
I would say Bitcoin didn't really become a thing until 2017.
when was Silk Road? When did that become like really dominant?
I think that was 2015.
2015 when they started
Yeah.
using it.
I think that's when people were, hadn't really adopted it. They didn't really know. Nobody really knew the white paper.
How many?
Here's the thing. We take the white paper for granted, but people weren't like, people weren't on the streets talking about the Bitcoin white paper and it replacing money. You know what I mean? They were like, yo, we can,
Some people were
they're like, hey man, I can send you some money, man. It's kind of, I mean, it's not
Kaiser
really
was out
money.
there.
Like, yeah, it was an interesting space. Everything's a little bit
Still
more,
is an interesting space.
it sure is. So, moral of the story, crypto's only been around for 8 years, realistically, as far as the market actually adopting it. And so we're early. You're early. Have fun. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
And then we also got Magic Internet Money here in studio. Guys, before we move on to this show, we got like
In
a
the chat, not in
30%
the
like
studio.
ratio. Actually, it's like a 39% like. Anyways, rounding down.
Oh, you not like me?
Hit the like button.
Do it, please.
Thank you. And then what else we got here?
We swear we're
here's-
going to get to crypto news at some point.
Yeah, we will at some point. Before we
Bear with
do
us.
though, we
I
have
want to open the club today.
club limit is 250. So if we get to 250 people, we'll open up the club today.
About
All right.
250. We could do that.
So here's an interesting one. Check this out. 2022, a full tank of gas. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's gonna be copyrighted. And then 18.
you can't afford it.
You can't afford X. So 2020, you had you can afford a car in 2021, not, and some.
Oh, it's like relativity.
Yeah, how things have changed.
The egg situation's getting out of hand.
Dude, it's the price is exaggerated.
But that's where it's like that. I was telling you earlier where I thought things were disconnected. Like, why is the financial markets like, hey, everything's great, and then most people are like, eggs are like $10, and the bankers are just like, shut up, we're making money.
Yeah, man. It is ugly.
We don't want to
out
hear
there,
about
man.
your suffering. We don't want to. And no,
Mm.
we are living fat off our 401ks.
Everybody drop the egg emoji on the chat.
Is there egg emoji in the chat? There is an egg emoji.
Go for it.
Miguel, or no, Jessica dropped the egg
Jessica.
emoji. All right, awesome. And
Hey,
then,
Jessica's a member now. That's cool. She's come in fierce. She's been here like every day of the stream for like the last month or
yeah, man.
month
She also
and a half.
sent us Rocco. Pull up your camera real quick.
Yeah.
We also got
Let me see
we
if
got-
I can go.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey,
Oh, we got the
look at
thumbs
that
up
cool
button right there.
sign.
Another indicator to hit the thumbs up button. Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jessica.
Subliminal messaging everywhere in the
yeah,
studio.
that's right. And then
You go in the bathroom and you lift the toilet seat up. There's a big thumbs up sign.
here's a
Come out weird.
okay. That's not in Figure Tornadoes. We also have
we have a bidet.
Africa leads the world in Bitcoin adoption. This is on since June.
Sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, so sub-Saharan Africa, we're seeing almost a 6% adoption year over year.
I mean, that's cool, but I feel like you want a proof of stake. If energy is a problem, which I feel like in Africa,
well, here's the thing: a lot of people's first exposure to crypto is, here in the U.S. we got a lot of money we just throw around. You know what I mean? Like we're in the U.S. We're kind of privileged to the fact that we're like, hey man, I got $500. I'm just gonna throw it on a meme coin. You know, like YOLO, like and so a little bit different kind of mentality in Africa, in emerging nations, especially ones that don't have banking needs. People aren't necessarily trying to flip a quick profit.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's if you're going to take it, like, I like the Charles Hoskins, how Cardano is trying to do infrastructure. He's trying to create really cool NFT type versions of people's school records, things that the infrastructure they just don't have.
Yeah.
So it's like Bitcoin.
But I think
like,
a
how
lot
are you
of
earn
people
Bitcoin? You got to like
still. I think people are still trying to avoid risk, especially if they don't have a lot in the first
it's like a retention of value thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get that. I get that.
And so when it comes to banking, obviously Bitcoin is not at the forefront. But when it comes to protecting your wealth against inflation, against just simply storing value, if you are just trying to set money aside to buy your house, set money aside for someone's college, whatever it is, you're just simply saving money. If you don't have a bank, then you're probably your best bet. If I had to just set some money aside, I'm like, hey man, I'm just trying to save 10 grand, and I had no interest in trading or whatever.
Or if you're nomadic and you need to move with it, that's where I think
that the easiest, simplest case, the one that makes the most sense, the one that is probably the one that has the least amount of risk,
tested
would be Bitcoin for that scenario.
I get that.
So emerging market Africa, it's very interesting because Africa, they got they have all the resources, man. They don't have the infrastructure.
They don't have the infrastructure, but they have the natural resources.
So they don't have the financial infrastructure.
Sure.
But
look at Zimbabwe.
That gives them the opportunity to build from the ground up without having to pivot and change what's already built. So here in the US it might be a little difficult to change the standard because so many people are dependent on it. And so that's why the introduction of cryptocurrency scares so many people in institutions and in Congress and lawmakers, because this is the system that's here. And right now, we're the world reserve currency. We're the strongest economy. We don't want to shake anything up. And to some degree, it makes sense. But at the same time, we understand crypto. So we know that, hey, if we don't get ahead, if we don't, if we just stay stagnant, we'll be the next Circus City or Radio Shack. The leader in innovation that is not going to change their business model. And even though we might be a leader in technology, if we don't change, we're going to get left behind. As simple as that. So
very quick, there was a Magic Internet Money asked if there is an egg coin.
An egg coin.
So we found something. The price is down. It's chicken egg.
FOMO into your eggs.
There's no shortage of
chicken egg.
There's no shortage of trying to profit off of the latest trending word.
Chicken egg coin is down.
I'm sure there's a Martin Luther King coin today. I'm sure there
is something going on.
These things, by the time you even notice it moving up, it's too late.
Oh yeah.
And so there's literally the only people that make money off of it is this small circle of people that are trying to, get ahead of the game. So just proceed with caution. And then I will I want to cover this very interesting topic here. It is amazing. The amount of ignorance that people have when it comes to their business endeavors. So there's a new exchange coming out. Don't get too excited. Don't FOMO in, because 3AC's founders want to launch a new cryptocurrency exchange. So Suzu and Kyle Davies want to tap into the ballooning crypto claims market by launching their own exchange. Now, if you're not familiar with Suzu and Kyle Davies, Suzu is the one that's on the run for. He was the lead, the face of Three Arrows Capital. Co-founder Kyle Davies, also the main dude as well. But Suzu's I think the more prolific figure here. Anyways, Suzu and Kyle Davies seeking to raise $25 million to start a new crypto exchange by the name of GTX. They are joined by venture by CoinFlex co-founders Mark Lamb and Sadhu Arumugam. Now, first of all, before I get any further into this, you have a new cryptocurrency exchange named GTX. Sounds oddly familiar.
Sounds fast.
To FTX, right? And so I started, I'm very strong on my alphabets. And I was like, what comes after F? What would be the next thing to collapse after FTX? G follows F. So is this the next exchange to blow up and take everybody's money?
It's not 5-minute abs, 6-minute abs.
That's right. And so you're trying to one up FTX by going to the next letter over. And now, so GTX will enable trading crypto claims, which is described as $20 billion. So $20 billion market on crypto claims in matters related to FTX, the Celsius, BlockFi, Mt. Gox, and other crypto companies. They're just trying to take advantage of that hole and create the next hole, apparently. GTX team then plans to expand products offering cryptocurrencies, stocks, Forex. Unapologetic, the two co-founders have refused to cooperate with liquidators and creditors to the extent that the Supreme Court of Singapore and the U.S. Department of Justice recently issued subpoenas to them through Twitter. We covered that a couple weeks ago, where we're now serving people through Twitter. That's a thing now.
You can do that?
Yes. Suzu got served on Twitter.
Can you verify it? It'd be like,
well, if you got the blue check mark, apparently, and they saw that, you read your mail, you responded to a tweet at noon, we sent you something at 2 p.m., you responded to another tweet at 4, we know you're active.
It's in your inbox.
So, kind of interesting. Now, CoinFlex, meanwhile, was the crypto exchange that issued Bitcoin evangelist Roger Ver a $47 million loan and then tried to monetize his bad debt using a token called RVUSD. Okay. So not only, let this sink in, not only do you have Suzu and Kyle Davies, which are on the run from the Justice Department and Singapore officials and are wanted and probably going to serve jail time, but they've partnered up with a company called CoinFlex. CoinFlex was, we covered this article about 6 months ago. CoinFlex is a whale crypto exchange, right? They offer services to large institutions, large wallet. Anyways, big players.
Do you know that GTX was also a car?
Yes. That
was made by Plymouth.
Oh man, that was such an ugly car.
So what happened to Plymouth, huh? They went under.
Ooh, I see.
Just saying.
So you
this is like, this is bad omens.
Should put some red yarn behind you on the wall. Here's a Plymouth.
Well, I wanted to make sure, so I looked it up.
Okay.
But yeah, GTX, because I was thinking it was what they had the GTX. What was the G6, and what was that company? Anywho, yeah, I looked it up. There was GTX made by Plymouth, and Plymouth went out of business in 2000.
Man. If you see I feel like if you see a Plymouth, a Lincoln or a Plymouth on the road, there's always somebody over 70 years old driving that thing.
They're like boats,
giant
bro.
glasses. CoinFlex. They basically were for high net worth individuals and institutions. And what ended up happening was they ran out of liquidity. This is the tried and true story. They ran out of liquidity.
Pontiac.
They
that's
stopped withdrawals on their platform, and then they came up with the brilliant idea. We know how we can restart the liquidity is by offering a recovery value token, which was they're basically creating a new token to get new investors in on a new token to inject liquidity into the system, so that way they can offer withdrawals to their high net worth individuals that they halted withdrawals on. Anyways,
Everybody's
scam
just creating
from top,
their own coins. It's
scam
why?
from
They
top
have
to bottom.
No value.
That is not a breaking article. That is something that happened a while ago, and yet now it's time to launch a new exchange. Why not get two corrupt entities together and launch one, and then call it GTX? And interesting.
It's gonna be a no from me, dog.
Yeah, that's a hard no.
Yeah. Stay away from that shit.
Anyways, yeah.
Fool me once.
It's just crazy to me how these arrogant, failed business leaders can, they can be so delusional, man.
Well,
And the thing is like the sad thing is, I think they'll raise some money.
It's like once
right?
you get to that well, man, it's like they find a vein of gold and they're like, I'm gonna be rich forever. And then the gold dries up and they're just like, well, now I just need to find another vein. It's that easy. So they go out after they've, bankrupted themselves by taking out all the equipment to get through that first vein. Like, man, why? Why follow these people? I'm like, they're putting in the work. I mean, they're past due. You could see all their bills are already, in delinquency. Why would you give them more money?
Well, I'd like to get a third opinion on this subject. And we have a third opinion on deck. We got our boy T.A. Tim here joining us. So, Rocco, what's up, Tim? How you doing, brother?
What's happening?
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Oh,
Good.
doing great, man. Good to see you, man.
Oh, got a small.
How my
echo
Hokies
right
doing in the off season right now? We looking good? Who's our next quarterback? Who we got?
Hey, listen. We are on the recruiting trail in the transfer portal very hard. I am excited about the potential at quarterback with that Baylor transfer, and then 3 wide receivers who are all studs at their school. So, and then a running back who just was really good. I have a couple defensive players and positions I'd love for us to acquire more. But we'll see what Brent Pry does in year 2. The basketball team started hot and we've started to suck over there, old VT ways. But I'm still hopeful. Still hopeful.
There's always hope.
I'm always hanging my hat on that old Beamer ball mentality. Beamer ball, man. We got to go back to that. The good old days.
Yep. If anyone's gonna do it, Brent Pry's the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll link up. Go to a Virginia Tech game one day.
Let's do it.
You down?
Let's do it.
And we'll stream from there too. Why not? We'll stream from the stands. So welcome to the show. I know last time you joined us, I think we had some where internet was down or whatever, but we are happy to have you here. Guys, if you're not familiar with T.A. Tim, one of the legends in the technical analysis space, Tim, you got anything exciting you want to talk about? You got going on in your own space? You have the new channel, Investing Bros. How's your growth going? Just tell our viewers a little bit about you real quick if it's their first time checking you out.
Yeah, no. So my buddy and I, T. Shroom, we started a channel here about 2 months ago. Grew very quickly. We're now up over. We're almost to 1,700 subscribers. But really cool. We just got monetized on Thursday. We got all the metrics. You have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time hours. We hit it. But traditionally and usually, YouTube says it takes about a month for them to review your channel. But boom, next day on Friday, they go ahead and prove us. So we're now officially monetized. So that's super cool. We're building a lot of stuff over there. We have a live show every single morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If anyone wants to come check us out, we're one of the first shows to go live. Both TCM and I have other jobs in the afternoons we work on that allow us to still have a YouTube channel, but we go early just for those reasons. So if you guys want to come check us out, we'd love to have you there. We talk crypto, we talk stock market, we talk investing in general. We like to have fun. I know this channel is one of those as well. If we're going to talk crypto and investing and everything, why not have a good time while you do it? It doesn't need to be just boring and down in the weeds. We can have some fun. So if you guys are looking for another morning channel, then check us out, Investing Bros, and again, link down below.
What time do you go live?
9 to 10 Eastern time. So that's I think over where you guys are, that's about 6 a.m. if you're over in Cali or if you're in your Pacific time, right? Yeah.
Yep, 6 to 7. So awesome, man. Have you been trading this Bitcoin pump? Did you see it coming? I'll kind of just let you get into the charts whenever you. Oh, actually, hold on. Before we get into the charts, I don't know if you caught this article we were covering here. Did you hear? There's a new exchange launching, and so here it is. Looking at it, we got 3 AC founders to launch a new cryptocurrency exchange. So you have Suzu and Kyle Davies they're when they're not running from the law enforcement, both Singapore and the U.S. Justice Department, they are in discussions and trying to launch their own exchange in partnership with a company called CoinFlex, which was a high net worth platform or high net worth trading platform for institutions and whales. Which they halted trading as well about 3-4 months ago. And anyways, they have partnered up to launch a new exchange. So, it's interesting to see these fraud. Yeah, I don't know if I want to call them fraud. Sam Bankman-Fried's definitely a fraud. Suzu.
You don't think he's a fraud?
Yeah.
3AC Suzu. I think they grossly mismanaged money and they took insane amount of risk. And I think they just failed in general, but I don't think they were
partaking in fraudulent activities.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I hadn't heard of that until I was watching while I was waiting on it to come on. It's very interesting, and people fail and then they get back up and they succeed later. There's a little bit of a difference though when your failure lost millions and millions of dollars of your customers' money.
Billions.
But it is billion. Well, but individuals lost millions.
Yes.
Did any one individual lose $1 billion? Okay, anyway, so it's going to be one of those things. If people sign up for it, all right, fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, okay, shame on me. So
yeah,
we'll see.
This is what started that Genesis thing. So Genesis, they were in the whole $2.1 billion to Three Arrows Capital, which then rolled into the whole contagion thing. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, we will see. I mean, I'll be honest with Three Arrows Capital. I'm not as up to date with all of the details as to what went wrong there, how much was their problem, how much was really just unfortunate details that happened. But either way,
Three Arrows Capital was leveraging their customer funds, their treasury assets into Terra Luna, and then when that depegged, it all unraveled, and then everyone else that
The only thing I'll say, and I'll give them one. I'll play devil's advocate because the easy answer is to say don't trust them, don't go with them. Devil's advocate, who saw Terra Luna going like that? I mean, remember, before that happened, literally just a month before, all of the Bitcoin holders were praising Luna and the ability for them because they were backing their project with Bitcoin. We thought they were going to be the next greatest thing, and then, of course, they were over leveraged and they fell. So I'll play devil's advocate. I still don't know if I'm going to be investing in this exchange. I'm not going to do it for sure. I wouldn't suggest anyone else do it as well. But at the same time, not many people saw and predicted the collapse of Luna, like we said. So that's one thing. It's like, well, something outside of their control collapsed and caused what they did to collapse. You just want to see people handle money better. And so for those reasons, I don't know if anyone will ever trust them ever again. Like you said, I think you said it earlier, though, they are nowhere near as bad as Sam Bankman-Fried and what we saw from FTX, but it's still pretty ugly. So I would stay away from it.
All right, Tim, guess what just happened, man? Guess what just happened? Bitcoin broke over a level that we haven't seen since September, since the second week of September. So September 11th, we were at 21,700. Since that day, we have not been at 21.3 here. So just to show you.
It would depend. I think it depends on what chart you're looking at. So when I do, and I can go ahead and share my screen if you guys want. The chart I'm using, we went and we touched that level back on November 5th. So is what I see here. Let me go ahead and I'll share this. There we go. Yeah. So what I use when I'm doing technical analysis, I like to get as much information as I can as possible. So I'll go to the BTC or USD, and I'll go do the index on TradingView, which takes into account a lot of information from exchanges. It helps you see back in the history.
What was what did we hit on? What did we hit on November 5th? I'm just curious.
So that right there, we got to 21.46. I would say is about where I'm putting that one.
Okay. We're almost there.
I can zoom in a little.
By the end of the show, we will cross 21.
Yes, potentially. That's really good. But what I'll say is, and I know when I looked at the title of this video, and then you get comments early. Of course, you get your super bulls that are going to say, "Oh no, this isn't a bull trap." Then you have your bears who say, "Yep, this is definitely a bull trap." The truth is, they might both be somewhat correct. And there's something we're looking at here. I was talking about on the show this morning how what we could be developing, let's stay conservative. I am a big fan when you're doing technical analysis and you're trying to look for locations to buy in and take profit at. Stay conservative. Don't get crazy. A lot of people that miss their marks are the ones that go overboard. But I'll give you the aggressive price prediction and I'll give you the more conservative one. Conservatively, more than likely, with how overextended we are, if we go to look at our RSI and oscillators, we're sitting right now on the daily chart. This isn't a 4-hourly chart or hourly chart. We're sitting up at 90 on the RSI. Let me start by just showing you guys a history. We have not been this high on the daily RSI since back that peak that we had. Now I got to scroll for you guys. This peak that we had back during the bull run of 2021, early back in January, we peaked out and then dropped. I think this is 30-something%. Let me see how much we fell after that mark. 30%. So some people thought maybe that was the high and it was time to retrace. No, that was just the beginning of the bull market. But we did have a 30% retracement after we peaked out there. The time before that we ended up touching around the 90. I'll just go ahead and give it all three of these little touches right here. That was, of course, not yet to the pandemic time, but as we were beginning the bull run again. What you're going to notice, though, when you zoom in, if I can get a lot of information here, you're going to notice it didn't really pay attention to these dips. These touches. We hit 90 right here back in April of 2019, and then we just moved sideways for a time. Then we came back up. We hit it again. We moved sideways, and then we actually even ended up rallying up. Moved it over again, had a little bit dip, and then we hit it again, and that's when we started to correct back down. Of course, who knows what the price would have really done. The pandemic really threw us off here. I don't think that we would have really gone down here. I think we could have bottomed out and then started our climb a little bit earlier. But just to give some references where we are with daily RSI, this is not a level we get to very often, so that's something to keep your eyes on. We're overextended on Luxalgo Oscillator. Down on the 4-hourly chart, and the hourly chart, I don't even need to go down that far. You're going to see we're continuing to set higher highs with candles, but the RSI is going lower. So while we still can get a little more pump here, we do have bearish RSI forming. We are overbought at the moment. I would not be surprised to at least continue to trade sideways here just a little bit, even though we're matching back to levels we were here just a couple of days ago. Let's see, this little wick is I think that's yesterday. If I'm not, today's 16th, correct?
We have Magic Internet Money in the chat. He joined me 2 days ago, and he was saying that he wanted to see Bitcoin trade and consolidate right at 20K, between 20 and 21K, and then kind of just hang out there to build support instead of, say, rallying up. What do you think would be the most bullish scenario in the long term for Bitcoin? What do you want to see? Do you want to see us breaking into the 23, 25K? Or do you think, you know what, some natural consolidation at 20K is a good way to go?
Let me start off by saying what I want Bitcoin to flash down to $1. I buy like 10,000 of it. And then it just skyrockets back up. So unfortunately, this is not the what does Tim want edition. This is the what do we think is going to happen, what's realistic. I'll go back to my chart. What I see happening here, and I think is a realistic thing. I would love to be wrong and see us break through. Again, I'm just like the rest of us. I love when my portfolio looks really green. And if you like me, you woke up last couple of days, you're very happy. If we're being realistic, it'd be nicer to come back down and acquire more. And what I see happening, developing right now, is getting back again to that peak we had back in November. It would make a lot of sense to come back down towards 19,000, maybe even the top of this support line, a little bit lower than 19,000, and then we see a little bounce here. But now, just using that right there, what do we have developed here? We have an aggressive formation and we have a conservative formation. The aggressive one would be left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We got ourselves an inverse head and shoulders pattern. If I were to make this breakout here from the bottom of that head up to the neckline and then move it over, we have a prediction for Bitcoin aggressively to get all the way up towards $27,300. Now, I told you here a little bit ago, let me take my RSI down.
I'm liking that,
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of being conservative. I'm a very big fan of being conservative. With us having a flat neckline right here, there's another formation that this makes, and that's if we ignore this left shoulder, this is a cup and handle. So we got our little cup right here, got our handle for a breakout for that one. This is where we get a little more conservative. You would go for, no, this isn't set yet. We need to see where the cup goes, but you would go down to the breakout point. You move that over to the breakout, and this would give us a price prediction more conservatively, somewhere around $23,800. So
you got a pretty good so you're kind of leaning towards essentially a pullback to 19K, and then in both scenarios, cup and handle or inverse head and shoulders to have a breakout or a bounce off of 19,000. So kind of spook the market, go under 20K, and then off to the races.
A cup and handle, you say?
It would make sense. It doesn't have to happen. We could just continue to rally to the upside, but it would make a lot of sense to do that just to let the market cool off for a second. I mean, like I showed you guys on those 3 different charts, and I know you guys have probably been looking at this. You had other guests say it. We're just overbought, and no rally. Like if we do rally up all the way to 27,000, let's say we get there. It's never going to be a straight shot. There's going to be sideways, small retracements, just things where people are going to be trading it. This is a great spot. I mean, notice we got up here the other day, and now we're hesitating for the next couple these last 2 days. It's not ready yet to just break on through. I think it would be very healthy for Bitcoin to retrace. And the reason why I'm choosing this level, maybe we only go down to 19.6 or 7. I think if you were to scroll out here, you get a lot of candles actually ending right here, a kind of candle bodies ending right here between 19.3 and 19.6 or so. So you could also go down to that area. That was the other one. If you were to use our fixed range volume profile and look at traditional space, we got a peak sitting right here at 19,132. So there's lots of levels, but what I'm kind of almost looking for is a zone right here to come down into and set that right shoulder to the inverse head and shoulders, or set our handle for a cup and handle. And I'm going to start by being conservative. And if we end up getting up here, what I say, 23,500 or so, I'm going to at least take a little bit of profit on my Bitcoin trades. I might go ahead and hold off because there's other things happening. I don't want to be necessarily too conservative and miss out on a great trade opportunity. What we had going on that could be part of the spark for why we're going up so high. Ever since back in this fall, we had in June up to the peak we had in August. This sets for us a falling wedge pattern that gives us a breakout. Let me go and move this over. I looked at it this morning, but I don't want to get the number wrong. If we move this over to where we broke out of this formation, this gives us a price prediction over that $25,000 peak we had back here in August. That gets us up to almost $26,000. And something that I'm really looking at when I'm looking at the macro timeline of what's happening with Bitcoin, it's really good to get over this little peak at 21,000. But the real peak that I think would be very good for Bitcoin to clear is 25.1. And the reason why is because currently, even though we love this rally, when we zoom out this far, we're still setting lower highs. We need to switch that trend. If we want to get back bullish, we need to start setting higher highs. Now, yes, we have a little peak right here at 21, but the last significant peak was actually back in August. That was the 25,100. A close above, so that not just break above it, let's get above it and close there and stay there for a little bit of time. A close above 25,000 would give us a higher high that would be confirmation to me where I would get to about, I would say 70 to 80% confident that the bottom absolutely is in. Like that's something I think a lot of people are not thinking about. They don't want to discuss right now because it's not fun to say, but even though we're sitting at $21,000, over $21,000, there is nothing necessarily saving us from setting a new low. We could get some really bad news here very soon as we follow what's happening with the DCG stuff. Who knows? We're expecting the Fed at this point to maybe not be as hawkish as they have in the past, but they could come and poop on the party. So there's still a very real chance as we speak this moment that the bottom is not in, and we're coming down to these levels somewhere 14,000, maybe like high $13,000 levels. Of course, you still got the Gareth Soloways and the other bears of the world saying 9 to 10.
And then
I'm more in this range. Go ahead. Yep.
Just to kind of expand on some of the narrative and give you a little ammunition here to discuss Bitcoin as well. I got a couple things pulled up. I'm gonna pull up my laptop here. So we have over $70 billion pumped into Bitcoin this week, with perhaps more buying power coming in. So you can take a look at the coin market cap list. Also with the volume increasing, we're seeing a lot more money flow into Bitcoin, particularly $73 billion just in this week. Now, so there's that. We also have Bitcoin bullish signal. Large whales accumulate 37,000 Bitcoin in the last 10 days. So you have on-chain data shows large Bitcoin whales have finally started accumulating in the last 10 days. And as we mentioned, 37,000 Bitcoin. And so you have that. Also, you have approaching 1 million unique addresses holding at least one Bitcoin. So, you're getting close to a million, whole coiners here. So that's just to expand on the Bitcoin narrative. Also, I know that Bitcoin did cross the 200-week or daily moving average, right? Am I right? I'm not the chart guy, but I know I follow a little bit. I watch other people's stuff and just kind of I don't draw charts though. But it crossed the 200, right? That's significant, right?
It did. Okay. It is significant. The thing that I would caution people on though, and so here let me share my screen one more time, and I'll show what you were looking at right there. I don't know if you guys have switched to my screen real quick. So this is the 200 right here. We did cross through that. Great stuff there. I love it. Here's the problem. So I love the story, and I that's part of the sign that the bottom at least is close. And I'm not saying the bottom's not in. It absolutely could. I'm just not sure it's not yet. Here's the problem, though, is we're looking at the Bitcoin price like this. The retail investor, the people watching YouTube channels trying to find out what's happening with the price, they're looking at a chart like this. So we're looking at this and saying, well, we're bottomed out right here. That's a nice little pump right there. Are we moving to the upside? That are we going to take profit here? Whales and institutions are looking at the chart like this. They're looking at it from a very long timeline where it used to be flat. And yes, there's some peaks in it now. And they're saying, all right, there's a whole range in here that if we buy Bitcoin, this is going to be good. Just because we've had billions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins bought here in the last couple of days does not mean this rally is just ready to take off and we're not going to set new lows. When we look back on this, when Bitcoin someday is sitting up here, over, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's way up here. Let's just put a price up there. Let's just pretend when we get up to 170,000. I think a very realistic target for the top of the next bull market. Is it really going to matter whether you purchase that much right here or right here?
THM, real quick, while you're drawing that, I just want to get a little insight from the community, the chat. What do you guys think? We'll keep it simple. Chat, do you think the bottom is in? We're going to be heading down to 16K again, or do you think we are off to the races? 20K is the new support for all of eternity. What do you guys think? One for bottom not in, two for all of eternity, 20K support. Go ahead, brother.
My whole point is when you look at the chart like this, it completely changes things. Accumulating this area, this is just smart DCA area to accumulate. This is where whales and smart money, they know whether we're at the bottom or not, we're close. Accumulate now, because when we start stretching up and we get up towards these levels, and we'll slowly make our way, whatever we do, we'll make our way up here towards 170,000. In the future, we'll go all the way up towards 1 million. The point is, this is an area down here you want to be accumulating all you can. So just because we've seen some purchases there, it's a sign that these are good buying opportunities. It's not a sign necessarily zooming back into the daily chart and looking at this short timeline that automatically we're done down here. It is time to start rallying and looking to the upside. I just, like I said, I would not be surprised even to see us, come back down to this range, maybe break up towards what those levels I was talking about, the 23.3, maybe even get close to our heads topping out right here on 25,000. If we can get above, now what I want to see, and I think we could do, is we could hold that, maybe start coming back down here and hold these levels, but we're setting higher highs and higher lows, or maybe even at worst trading sideways. That would be majorly bullish, would still keep us in this range. My fear is that a lot of retail investors are thinking automatically right now that's a guarantee, and what could happen is we actually come down to these levels, we get up to this mid-level, and then we start to do this, and people get discouraged, and then we come back down to this range down here, and we hover, and then finally get spot back up, and we move down the trail later. I'm not making a prediction one way or the other. I'm preparing for both scenarios, but too many people, they just go ahead and marry one scenario and say, well, that's got to be it. And then what happens is they get frustrated. If you do think we're going to get bullish and you do think we're going to cross 25,000, stick to the plan. Whatever your plan is, accumulate now because you think that's going to happen. And then if we come back down low, realize, well, I bought the same time that smart money was buying. I bought when whales were buying. I'm not looking for profit necessarily in the next 2 weeks. I'm looking for profit in the next 10 years of my life. It's a good spot. So it's all a matter of perspective. But I think too many people are going to read those headlines. They're going to read the headlines like $70 billion of Bitcoin is purchased. They're going to read the headlines that say whales are buying right now, and they're going to automatically assume that means the bull market's coming right now. And
are you calling me dumb money?
This.
You calling me dumb money, man?
I'm not calling you dumb money.
Because I'm reading them. I'm excited, man.
But remember this, though. I mean, how much have we talked about bad players in the space and manipulation and things getting? I mean, that is the trick of the institutional, the whale, the smart money. They want to acquire as much as possible. So if we can trick retail investors into buying at the wrong times, selling at the wrong times, and accumulate more, what they like to do is pump, especially around times where reversals are coming. Let's put out some bullish headlines to get retailers to buy so that we can sell to them. So then the price comes down lower and we can buy more, but they're stuck with the higher price. And then we'll start flooding the news with bearish news, and everyone's going to think negatively and no one wants to buy, but we're going to know it's a good place to buy. So we'll buy again. It's just the way the market works. And I think for anyone who's watching YouTube, crypto YouTube right now, there's not a lot of them. I know you guys have probably seen this. Every channel has known. Look at engagement from the peak of the bull market back in November 2021 to right now. It's absolutely abysmal. But there's the people that are watching. So right now you guys have like 170 people watching. You 170 have the opportunity to be multi-millionaires in the future because you're staying with it. You're paying attention. You're not letting the fudsters get you out. You're staying locked in, but continue to educate yourself. Continue to think. Think the way smart money thinks. Don't think the way the rest of the sheep think. Don't think the way the guys that get back in when we hit new all-time highs. Don't think like them. Think like whales do. They're buying right now. That doesn't mean the bottom's in. They just want to accumulate as much as possible. They will still shake out because guess what? News like this, I bet you a couple new million people went and looked at a Bitcoin exchange and said, oh, Bitcoin's rallying again. Let me go buy some more Bitcoin. They're going to take advantage of retail investors like that. But if you continue to educate yourself and learn to think like them and understand, that's a good headline, but what's the timing of this headline? That's a good piece of information, but what's the timing of the information? If someone was out there trying to manipulate me, what would they be thinking about right now? You'll set yourself up for a much, much better future. And so I encourage you, continue to watch YouTube, continue to read these articles and think for yourself and continue to learn the strategies and the philosophies that smart money uses.
Real quick, just a little insight from the chat here. Will Bitcoin stay over 20K was a question. We had 54% said yes, 45% said no. So it's almost dead split there. And then on the ones and twos, which was more of a ones and twos, which one was the bottom is not in. And we are going to see new lows, almost 50-50 there as well. And then lastly, we did run another question on Bitcoin. Is this a bull trap? 65% of our people that took the poll said this is a bull trap. So I think the chat is arguing with themselves on what direction this is going to go. Tim, is there any altcoins or anything you want to discuss? Anything in the charts jumping out at you? I know Avalanche had a big rally. Ethereum is, scraping the $1,600 mark. Also, you got XRP about to cross 40 cents. Cardano really hasn't moved much compared to some of the other tokens.
Or maybe a project that you like,
Yeah.
that you specifically like for any particular reason, like
Yeah,
anything that you're bullish on
Yeah.
just because you like the tech, or
Yeah, we'll kind of throw it your way, man. We'll let you decide where you want to go with this.
Yeah, I'm much more of an investor. I don't consider myself a tech guy. I plan on in this next bull market utilizing a lot more of the technology of blockchain. But at this point, I'm a trader. I like to look at the charts. I like to analyze the news to find out which companies. I mean, 'cause that's what they are. They're companies. Which companies look like they could have a good extension. Some ones that I am excited about though, because of some partnerships they've made here recently. We got Atom. I think Atom is one that's. I'm not going to say emerged because it's not like Atom didn't exist this last bull market, but I think Atom has the potential to have a really special bull market this next go round. And then, of course, Algorand. Algo is popping off. It's in the news everywhere. And then they just partnered with Amazon, one of the largest companies in the world. That has the potential to be very, very special. As far as projects that I'm very bullish on in general, though, Cardano is just always going to be one. Since I've heard about it, and I got to know more about their team and what they're trying to accomplish. I've been labeled as a Cardano shill. That's completely fine. People can think about me whatever they want. I'm a believer in it because I believe in the concept of when people have the right visions and the right missions and they surround themselves with the right people and the right teams, that it's about the race being finished long term, not just a little short sprint. I think what they're trying to accomplish is the reason why a lot of us should be in crypto, to bank the unbanked, to go after and to help those who maybe have been less fortunate, being held down by banking restrictions in Africa, like their target of Africa, and to help bank the bank. It's what originally resonated with me. And then you just follow it up with the fact that what is the biggest problem with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology right now? Can it be trusted? Is it secure? Are we trying to do things too fast? Well, guess who's the one coin that nobody has ever made that accusation against? That is Cardano. In fact, they've actually been accused of moving too slow and being too secure by the likes of former owners of Solana.
One problem is that you guys are uncrackable, and we don't like that. Nobody knows how to work your magic coins. Okay,
we like to focus on our chat and our community here. By the way, so don't feel like I'm interrupting you too much. But I do want to say that our boy Jimmy here, Jimmy says he says I'm not a tech guy and has Virginia Tech in the background. So kind of an interesting narrative there, Jimmy.
You got me, Jimmy. You're touche. Touche.
Any charts on some of those projects that you want to look at? Anything to stand out?
What I will point out, because I think you mentioned it, and it is true that Cardano has been very, very slow. One of the slowest projects moving, but it made a serious move here over the last couple of days, and that is it has been in a falling wedge pattern since back here in May of 2022. Been very frustrating. It even dropped below the support level back here just a couple of weeks ago. But not only do we break out of this bullish falling wedge, we just cleared, after hesitating, we cleared the second level, the higher level of resistance. So watch out for Cardano. There was a prediction made by the Cardano community that by the end of January, we would see a 49-cent prediction on Cardano. That's a little high for my take. And again, I think similar to Bitcoin, we're going to see a little bit of a fall. But I have this prediction tool right here with that falling wedge pattern. I'm keeping my eyes on a 56-cent Cardano over the next couple of months. I think it could go higher. That's just where I'm starting right now. But on this chart, moving above that resistance level to me is very big. Cardano had been slow. Watch out. I've been saying this on my channel for a while, but watch out for Cardano because it has a history. When you go back and you're looking at, I got to go to a different chart, I guess, because that one is it just takes forever. Let's go look at the Kraken chart. It has a history of when people just aren't ready for it, it just starts exploding. Yes, other coins, you might see coins go up like 10%, but Cardano has this thing of like when people least expect it, the chart's not even necessarily calling for it, it just starts to explode and going parabolic. That's what led to that all-time high back in $3 back here in September of 2021. Nobody, like other coins were moving bullishly, but Cardano just went crazy. I think that we're going to have another run like that for Cardano, especially as they're becoming more legitimate. The biggest accusation against them was, hey, you're not running your dexes. You guys don't really accomplish anything. You're more like a test. You're learning things. Well, guess what? They're developing and growing, and it's about to launch majorly a bunch of dexes. They're about to have a stable coin that I believe is going to be one of the ones that takes over because it actually works. And again,
they've had to do it from scratch. They've ran like all of their. They don't have traditional devs because they don't use traditional means. Like they literally use the language that nobody's using, and nobody wanted to go over there because it was hard to learn. So the people that actually took the time to learn it, and like it's taking time because they can't port over different things from.
I'm glad you brought up the language. Someone just wrote a smart contract in Python for Cardano. So with their latest hard fork, it gave them the ability to write contracts in Python, which is a lot cheaper, easier, and faster for devs to use. It's a more programmer friendly. And one of the biggest, harps on Cardano, outside of perhaps it having a slow roadmap, was that the Haskell, programming language can be kind of difficult to design for. So now you're starting to see them expand on the smart contract side with the programmability of Python. So pretty big there as well. And then also Jimmy gifted out 10 free memberships. So big shout out to Jimmy, man. He's gifting the community love, So there you go. Awesome. Now,
use your emojis. If you got new emojis, throw them out there.
Mm-hmm.
Test them out. Hit that like button.
Mm-hmm. Use the Gary Gensler one.
So use the Gary Gensler one.
Gary Gensler. We do have a Gary Gensler emoji. It's a good one. It's a good one. You know what, guys? If you got the Gary Gensler emoji, put it in the chat. I want
to see that.
I was gonna move on to some a couple articles. Unless you have something else you want to show, or is there anything else?
No, I mean, in a nutshell, I'm not going to show you guys a chart. If you're watching the Bitcoin chart, other things are going to move more aggressively, but a lot of right now we have not entered an altcoin season. We've had like 200% rallies in like Solana because it got so massively hit with how it's attached with FTX. Gala is the one that's really big. It's rallied over 264%, but they're moving the same waves as like Bitcoin is. They're not doing anything special. They just have higher percentages. So watch the entire market move pretty similar to what Bitcoin's doing. There will be an altcoin season again, though, where Bitcoin might trade sideways or down, but altcoins are taking off to the other direction. So when that happens, they'll have a lot.
So you think the altcoins will essentially like move in tandem with Bitcoin and not kind of break out here in the short term? That kind of makes sense, right?
For now, it's similar. Yeah. Not the same, not identical. It's similar. And so it's one of those, like when you see one happen, you can kind of predict the others are as well. Again, there are some projects that can move differently, but at this point, I'm not necessarily seeing one just start breaking off and doing its own thing.
Right. All right. So here, I want to get into our first article. President Hoover saves the day for a crypto bank? ? So this is pretty interesting. I'm gonna paint this very complex kind of marriage here. So Silvergate, if you guys haven't heard of Silvergate, they are the onboarding liquidity provider for most of the exchanges out there. So this is a little interesting rabbit hole of research here. So with Silvergate, they provide the onboard and offboard to get in and out of an exchange. So basically, they take your dollars and then they essentially credit the exchange with money on the back end. And they are the biggest bank that does this. And their stock has tumbled. It has plummeted. They're down like 95%. Kind of somewhat expected being in the bear market. However, they're down more than Coinbase. They're down more than a lot of other companies. And there are some discussions of bankruptcy perhaps floating around here. And, getting into Silvergate. So Silvergate started in San Diego in 1988 as a savings and loan association. And what this bank essentially did at first was work with home mortgages. So they were a traditional bank kind of, but they focused more on mortgages and in the housing sector. And so at some point they were like, hey man, this crypto thing, it's popping off. They wanted to be the leading provider, as they say here in quotations, the leading provider of innovative financial infrastructure solutions and services for a growing digital currency industry. And they are the leader. They used to provide services for Coinbase as well. They provide services for Binance, KuCoin. The list goes on and on. Basically, they are intertwined with everybody. Now, here's where things get interesting. To satisfy the spike in withdrawals during the fall of crypto, from its all-time highs. So basically the onset of the bear market. Silvergate received billions of dollars in advance from the Federal Home Loan Bank. You might ask, why is the Federal Home Loan Bank, which is a program or a banking system put into place by President Herbert Hoover? So at the end of 2022, they had borrowed $4.3 billion from this Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco. From September to the end of the year, they went from 700 million. Let me make this a little larger. So they went from 700 million to $4.3 billion worth of borrowed money from a federal home loan system to provide liquidity. So the FHL bank system was created under President Herbert Hoover through the Federal Home Loan Bank Act in 1932 with one big goal: lower cost of home ownership. And part of the crypto industry was effectively bailed out by a government-sponsored institution whose stated goal is to curtail housing costs. The FHLB is also tasked with providing liquidity for members' short-term needs. So they are here to provide liquidity for the banks that they work with in short-term needs. Now, it just so happens that Silvergate started as a home loan provider, and because they are a member of the Federal Home Loan Association, they are drawing on liquidity from the housing market. That's kind of crazy to me, right? I mean, is this like it just it's interesting, man. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad or it's a good thing. It's interesting, bro. You have a company, and if this thing blows up and it rolls into some kind of delinquencies or defaults when it comes to the federal home programs, and that could be a stain on our industry. So just kind of industry. I don't have any like big takeaways from this. I just find it very, very, very interesting that the number one provider for liquidity, the one that's in bankruptcy questions, has borrowed $4.5 billion from a federal loan program. And I don't even know if they're going to be able to pay him back.
Yeah,
what do you think?
There's a couple things wrong here. There's a couple things that have toppled down. And I get it. The economy that the U.S. has, and I know it's hard to talk about how good it is because we're in a recession right now, or we're going into one, depending on what people think.
You don't say that. We don't use that word.
You don't use that word? Okay, we're in a... What do we call it then? What
I don't know. Ask the government.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. We're poking fun.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Yeah. No, we're an economy that depends upon borrowing and leveraging our holdings and using things. It is what has caused our economy to boom, but it's also what causes it to crash and go into these recessions. Go back all the way into the early 1900s. The Great Depression didn't just jump up out of nowhere and hit the United States. It actually started, someone might be able to correct this. It's either 1903 or 1905, right there in that area. We started to see problems in the economy in the early, like very early years of the 1900s. It came to full peak during the Great Depression, but it took over 20 years to fully settle in. Why am I talking about that? These companies, they take these risks, they leverage positions, they get into things that they really should not with the promises of bigger returns, but they bit off too much. There's something smart about investing in new things and expanding your business. But this business, for example, they got in with using home loans, and they started, like you were talking about the Silvergate. They started by banking to other people. Them saying, "Oh, this crypto business, this is looking good. Let's expand over there." it caused them to fall apart. Well, I'm not saying this is the whole reason why FTX fell apart, but there was something that FTX did earlier this year that made me very skeptical. Is when they started saying that they wanted to offer stocks to be traded on the FTX. And I said this. I was actually on Around the Blockchain when this news was announced, and I said, watch out for this because this, if they handle it well, it could be very beneficial. But with even the lines they use, they said, we're not expecting to make profit. It's just to expand the market. I was like, well, when you stop making the main thing, and you're not going to make profit, that means you're going to have to borrow money from someone else to do so. And sometimes that can be the downside of you. Whether or not that really ever got brought up, what we know is that FTX went into heavy leveraged positions that they ended up losing on. If they had won, everyone would have called them genius, but they lost. And now they're the greatest villains in crypto history. Well, it starts with moves like that of getting into business you really should not have, expanding too far, over leveraging yourself. It has been the reason for every single recession that the United States has seen in the last over 100 years. It's just greed, it's over leveraging, and it's the main reason why it's funny right now that people are so against it. It's the reason why Bitcoin is not just going to be amazing, it's absolutely crucial in the future of our world for currency. Whether or not we use Bitcoin itself as the currency, or whether we have that solid store of value that everyone compares money to make sure, is this currency good? Bitcoin will finally teach responsible decision making. Gold had it there for a while, but even gold is manipulatable. Bitcoin is not. I don't care how powerful you are. I don't care who you are. You cannot play with and manipulate Bitcoin, and it's going to cause businesses and governments in the future to be responsible. But unfortunately, in the world we live in, it's just not surprising seeing this news come out. That's what people use, and they think it's going to make them successful. And a lot of them do end up being successful, but a lot of them get burned very badly.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that if they do default on their debt from from that federal loan program for homes, that essentially will have to be met through insurance through the federal government, from either the Federal Reserve or the FDIC. So it's not going to be a wash. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not like when FTX goes under, you're like, oh, we lost $6 billion. You know what? You know who picks up the tab? It'll be the federal government, because it's a federal program. And that hole needs to be filled, and it'll be filled through essentially money printing. So that is one concern.
Yep.
I do want to say that you brought up that around the block. I don't know if it's. I'm not trying to hype myself up here, but I got good memory, man. I actually remember that episode. I remember you talking about that, and I didn't really draw the correlation till now when you say it, that you were speaking on leveraging just a business model a little too far out, and exposing yourself to risk. Very interesting, man.
It is one of the number one reasons why large businesses will fail. It's they think they're at a level where they can expand, and they're not ready for it yet, but they take that step and they fail. Sometimes it's brilliant. I've seen acquisitions for companies be what puts them on the map. But a lot of when you look at history and you look at large companies that fall apart, I guarantee you, as you're reading into it, you're going to find that they just invested in something new that was not their main thing. They over leveraged to get into it, and it would ruin them.
All right, Tim, we're gonna let you go. Is there any parting thoughts or anything you want to leave us with?
I would say, going back to even what the title of this episode, if you guys jumped in here to see, is Bitcoin in a bull trap? Is it not in a bull trap? It's a little bit of both. Continue the strategy that you have currently put in place, whether we're going up from here or whether we're going down from here. Continue to DCA, continue to look for good spots, and think about the next 5 years. Don't think about the next 5 weeks. That will completely change your stress levels and your investment to be wise and accumulate more Bitcoin in this time. And guess what? In 5 years, whether you bought at 21,000, 20,000, 19,000, or whether you bought at 15,000, you're going to be a very happy person.
Well, thanks, man. Well, thanks for kicking the alpha, man. I love the fact that you're, you're not just charts. You also expand into kind of that smart kind of mentality and thinking outside the box and in the fundamentals. So we always appreciate you here, guys. We bring people on for you to share their insight and expertise. The only thing we ask of you in the chat is to go support the people that take time out and visit us. So in the description below, Investing Bros. We got TA Tim. Go support him. Go check out his channel. 6 to 7 PM or AM Pacific time. Also,
Really quick before we send you out, though,
yeah.
I when you were on last year, you had given this awesome speech to wrap up the show.
that was good.
And I put it in the year in review wrap up, and every time I watched it, man, I got goosebumps, and I thought it was really cool. So like it like every time I watched it just over and over when I was editing it.
Have
and
you
it
seen
came
the
up.
video? Have you seen our 2022?
No, I'm gonna have to go back and. I don't even remember what I said, so I'm gonna have to go back.
It was cool, man. It was really
and,
inspiring because it was
So
like you talked about how if you're not putting in if it comes too easy and you're not working hard enough, then it probably doesn't have the value. And so that was cool, man.
Yeah.
For me, putting in like 20 hours of work onto that video, it was like every time I saw it, I was like, all right, I got little,
You got my boy juiced up over here.
That was cool, man.
Come on.
I'm glad to have you around here. This is dope.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
Go check that
I was
video
like,
out. It's actually cool because you set the tone for like the motivational. We have like a little transition in that video, so we're kind of like showing, ourselves and our growth, and then we get to this
Sweet.
point where we have our guests showing, kind of talking about like what motivates them and things like that, and kind of Bitcoin, and you kind of start the transition, and then music changes. It's emotional, baby.
It was cool, man. I appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch it as soon as I get off here. So
All right.
Right on.
All right, brother. Well, thanks again.
All
We'll see you here shortly. We're gonna bring you back, man. We love having you on the show. Until next time, brother.
yes, yeah.
All
See
right,
you guys.
thanks.
Later, bud.
I love having him on, man. It's
Yeah,
my
he's
Virginia
cool.
homie, man.
I like that guy.
Your boy Virginia through and through, man. How you doing? Virginia Tech.
What
Hokies, baby.
What's happening?
That's a turkey. In case you didn't know.
That's what it was. Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
God, where the hell is the like at in here, man? Y'all better start hitting that like button before I come through this TV and smack you with this like button sign. I'll hit you with this.
Don't make him do it.
Real quick, let's give a little shout out to the chat. We got some new people in here, so if you're new, say hello so I can drop an hola back at you. We got Dan T, Johnny C, Harbaugh B. We got the right Crispy G. We got a lot of GCTB. Anyways, we got Barboos.
Are you guys gonna start your own exchange?
Yeah, Liam Bitcoin, Rosen, X Timson, NSLHD, Paul T, and then we got 94 Clips, Bradley T, G-Man, Josh Feck, and Ian Williams. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Welcome
Now,
to all you who visit this special place.
we do know there's something we do here in this special place on a special day, which is Monday. Is that we have our boy Forrest
Literally have an emoji for him. So if you're new and you have the emoji,
if
throw
you're
it out.
new here, drop a Forrest emoji, or if you're a new member, go ahead and use your amazing
Your new powers.
assets that Jimmy has more than likely empowered you with. So
Odds are, statistically,
we love you, Jimmy.
Poppy Azure.
All right, so without further ado, we got a little insight from Forrest. Our Forrest Fast 5 Mondays with Forrest. So let's get into the video. We got sound here.
Iran on a.
Yeah, right.
Got it.
There we go.
All right, so there's some breaking news around the gold market. Russia is working with Iran on a gold-backed stablecoin. The Central Bank of Iran is in discussions with Russia to create a new stablecoin backed by gold. According to a report from Russian news site Vedomosti, the new token would be used as a means of payment in foreign trade settlements instead of the dollar, the Russian ruble, or the Iranian rial. The source for the story was Alexander Broznikov, executive director of RAKIB, the Russian Cryptocurrency and Blockchain Association. Now, I do find it funny that they seem to have an association for cryptocurrency and blockchain, but the United States still does not seem to have a committee. All right, this is big. This is big for gold. I think this is bullish for gold, which has been rallying since October and November. Now, if we go back to this article, on November 23rd, the Russian Duma started work on a draft amendment to the Digital Financial Assets Law to regulate crypto and create a national crypto exchange. Regarding crypto, we are in favor of the development of digital financial assets and the digitalization of finance. But digital financial assets are not limited to crypto, to private cryptocurrencies. We have not changed our position that private cryptocurrencies, for which it is not clear who is responsible or how responsible, which are opaque and carry high risks of volatility, should not be used in settlements. The last part of this article I do want to briefly talk over is that the Russian Finance Ministry also announced earlier this month that they have doubled holding limits of gold and Chinese yuan within the National Wealth Fund. The new maximum holding limits are 40% for gold, 60% for yuan, up from 20 and 30% respectively. The IMF warned that Russia could use the crypto ecosystem to get around the Western sanctions that have been imposed on the country since it invaded Ukraine in February. Guys, this is exactly what's happening. Russia is being sanctioned, and Iran's had sanctions in the past, and they're looking to get off the dollar. So this is bearish for the dollar. If we go to DXY, the dollar's actually been crashing since the same time frame, October and November, moving inversely with gold, inversely correlated with gold. This is probably bad news bears for the dollar. And what's bad news bears for the dollar is usually good news for the crypto ecosystem. And despite this being a gold-backed stablecoin that Russia and Iran and probably China in on this as well, despite this being related to gold and not necessarily Bitcoin or Ethereum, this will essentially be a blockchain solution. It's unclear what network, whether that be Ethereum or maybe a private blockchain, will actually be used for this gold-backed stablecoin. But it is a crypto solution, blockchain solution nonetheless. So I would expect gold to continue to rally off of this as more countries decide that they don't want to be beholden to the United States or the U.S.-based sanctions or the U.S. dollar, which is very inflationary as a world reserve currency. So we have potentially oil trade happening now in the near future on this gold-backed stablecoin. Guys, the petrodollar is part of the oil trade is part of what backs the dollar. This, in my opinion, and we could be due for a little bit of a bounce here on support for DXY in the short term, but this, in my opinion, in the long term, spells disaster for the US dollar. Now, as more of these gold-backed stablecoins, alternative settlement solutions are implemented, it opens the gates. It opens the floodgates for other things to potentially be used for settlements internationally, potentially Bitcoin, potentially Ethereum, potentially other digital cash solutions or crypto-based solutions. So I would say this is a net negative for the strength of the US dollar and a net positive for the crypto space and a net positive for gold. Very interesting. I wanted to just briefly touch on this, make people aware that this is happening and what to expect. I'd expect bullish gold, bullish for crypto, bearish for the dollar. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
All right. Boy, Forrest.
Thanks, Forrest.
Man, what an interesting outcome. So, seems to kind of be the process in which we're having the BRICS, right? Where we have the exit of the dollar as the go-to currency for trading oil. And Iran, their economy is essentially driven by the sale of oil, right? That's one of the leading nations. Also, who else would probably jump on board with this? And I'm not even referring to this exact, article that Forrest is talking about. But we know that due to sanctions and due to the geopolitical issues that we're in now, especially with the U.S. trying to weaponize their dollar, the Middle East particularly is looking for an alternative to price outside of the dollar. And you know what makes a lot of sense is one currency that's not controlled by a nation, right? And because if Russia says, "Hey, I got this," and they end up, pricing oil in the rubles, in the eyes of the Middle Eastern countries, you're just switching one government that manipulates their currency and weaponizes their currency for another. And could you say that Russia's not going to manipulate their currency? and Russia's not going to try to weaponize their own currency if they know it'll be for their own advantage? More than likely, yes. So the key to this is decentralization. Remove the power from the governments. And we know, we preach it all day long. What is the best decentralized monetary system? What is the only decentralized monetary system? Well, that's cryptocurrency. And at the top, you have Bitcoin. But you're probably not going to use Bitcoin because countries are scared of it. So, hey, why not just back it with gold, CBDC, and why don't we just price everything in a gold-backed stable coin and trade that way? Makes sense. I think this is coming. How long will it take? Who knows? I think that the one thing I would say is that the adoption or the adoption of a foreign currency, especially gold-backed stable coin, especially a CBDC, especially foreign governments trying to get off the dollar. I do think that is a risk. I think it's real. I think it's coming. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. And I think outside of a 10-year time horizon. So what do you say, Kyle? I know you're kind of big into this whole, getting off the dollar and things of that nature. What say you?
Well, so I mean, I felt like something was really rough. So the whole reason why I'm in crypto and why I got here was because in 2020, when we saw the reaction of how our government like overcorrected with the pandemic and just printed money out of nowhere, and you just caused a bunch of waves, and it was problems. So after that, Russia invades, and we weaponize the dollar, and we don't have like we're the popular kid with all the money right now, but we showed that when we weaponize the dollar against Russia, that if we don't like what you're doing, we could just take you out of the system. Like we could take you off the SWIFT network, and since then, central banks around the world have accumulated more gold than they have since the 60s, which there was a gold-backed standard, a gold-backed based currency. It was the US dollar. And you give a nation too much control and they run away with it. And people try to claim that gold that was backing your currency, and to realize that you printed too much of your cash, didn't have enough gold to back it. And you have to basically default. And that's like what we did in the 70s. Or early 70s. So yeah, man, it's scary. And somebody put up an axis of evil coin is what they should call it. And it feels like that, man. The BRICS nations feel like that. Like I've been preaching this, and it's weird, man, because I talk to people.
What would the logo be, man? Obviously you can't do the
well, it's
the
just
Nazi thing, because that wouldn't work.
Well,
that was a symbol for the axis,
yeah,
essentially in the past.
My thing is just like, why? I've talked to people about this all the time, and I'm like, they don't think that the U.S. is in any jeopardy of losing the U.S. dollar hegemony, and I feel like it is. And they're like, well, it's not going to happen for a long time. I'm like, man, who knows? Because you weaponize the dollar against Russia. They have resources. That's what they have. They have oil, and the world needs oil right now. So unless we can break that tie, you need them.
The market's just been in place for so long and so dependent.
We're so globalized that we need to decentralize. We need to decentralize, and as a world, we need to get better at we're using our resources. And that's why I like proof of stake a lot, because the resource of energy is not as abundant and is becoming much more of a problem. Luckily enough, we had a pretty mild winter in Europe, and they were able to get through it. But there was like a lot of fear when the winter started, like in fall, that Europe might not make it through. Like they might not have enough resources to heat their homes. And you saw the gas bills coming from the UK. Man, everything is connected in a way that we need to, you can't just like look at the dollar value sign. You have to like look at the deeper, what's going on. And at the end of the day, it's all just Fugazi, man. It's just fake. Everything that we rely on right now. Fugazi?
You leave that out of using them Italian words. Rocco, what's the Fugazi mean anyways?
Fugazi is an excellent fumet reduction. When you do the tomato, you let it dry at the sun, and you make a fugazi.
Stop it. Is it really?
No, it's not. I have no idea what a fugazi is.
It's fake. It's made up. Like
I don't know what is a
that's
fugazi.
my
I just made
understanding
it
of
up.
I might be using it wrong, but it's like there's just what's it based in. So who knows, man? I think we're trying to break
all I heard
free.
was what's it based in? So the good way of cooking is basting. Is to cover the protein in the cooking liquid as it cooks. So
Let the sugars get in
there
there.
we go. All right, guys. We are gonna wrap it up. This was an amazing show. I think we should do every show without David from now on. What do you guys think?
It's gonna be happy about.
No more David? I think it was a way better performance without that lanky guy in here. All right, so do you know David's outro? I don't know. I know he's like friends and family.
Friends and family, family and friends. Oh wait, hold on.
You got a tornado?
Rocco.
Oh yeah, that was
That
fast.
was more like a whirlpool.
Friends and family, family and friends. Thank you for checking us out. Enjoy your emojis. Thanks to Jimmy. And thank you for coming on by. We're going to be here all week. We got great guests this year. We just getting the year started. This is beautiful. Thanks for dealing with me. I'm kind of the class clown of this thing. I usually don't. They cut my mic, so this is nice. I'm going to
Rocco cut his
cherish
mic.
this moment.
Okay, it's my-
Thank you.
All right, guys, make sure you follow Discord, run by Marky Mark. Check out our social media,
Merch store.
merch store, and everything. I see you tomorrow. Ciao.
All right.
Rocco does a
Tomorrow.
great job of curating fantastic merch, like cutting edge.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.
Peace.
Big day tomorrow.